So the other day I got to sit down and watch the documentary about it seemed to be just about like your whole family that was released in 2016 right before the Rio Olympics. And it was really interesting. And it was really interesting listening to you detail life and training in South Africa and seeing like the home pool that you guys are practicing in. It was it's definitely a pool.
Challenging.
But I'm curious if you could talk more about the differences in that pool and the way you guys are essentially have to be training, and as well if you could compare it to other pools you've been at around the world, and if you think if the program had more funding, if you think things would be different, or like this is kind of a long-winded question, but
No, look. Let's start with, I always tell stories in life.
Yeah.
It's what happened in my life. I never answer from a book or from schooling or nothing. I've had vast experience in life. I was a father, a very young man, as a very young man, and I've lived a little bit naughty life, and not always correct. And since 2012, my life has changed because of Chad. But leave all that out. Let's go back to the training, the swimming. There was a BBC came over to video us before the Commonwealth Games in 2014, and from Scotland, and they came to the pool, and this is what I said to them. He asked me about, is it the same? Is it the same? You live in California,
Yeah.
I've just come from Australia now because we were the world champs, where Chad won double gold at age 30. He became number one in the world, and he did a PB, a personal best at age 30, which I'm overwhelmed because there was other reasons for that, but that's not for this program. Anyway, the pool's there. The absolute worst pool in America. I mean, the worst pool. I've been to America several times. Worst pool in America, and the worst pool in Australia will not be the best pool in South Africa wouldn't be as good as your worst public pool. And when the BBC asked me, I said it's simple. I said, you got guys like Phelps or now Dressel and Lochte at the time. I said, you know what? They wouldn't put their foot in their toe in this water, purely because there would be lawsuits coming out of wherever, because it's sort of unhealthy, and there's no heating system, and it. Look, I'm going to tell you now. I can stand here and say, and I know the Americans will hate me for this, or the Australians, the best swimming country in the world for athletes is South Africa. There's 2,000 or 3,000 swimmers, and every single solitary year in and year out for the last 25, 30 years, they've been gold medalists. And bigger countries where there's zero funding here, zero. I mean, the pools just deteriorate. Where coaches and that, they want to make galas, they take their own funded private heating systems and heat the 50-meter pool with portable heaters just to make a gala. I mean, it's challenging, but it is what it is. You're not here to just complain all the time, and it's been like that for years. Now Chad is training in Frankfurt in Germany, and it's slightly better. It's not in the same league as anywhere in Australia or the US, as far as that's concerned. But you know what? It is what it is. Sometimes it makes you tougher. I mean, I've got to the pool at 4:45 in the morning in winter, and there's a gale wind blowing, and it's outside. It's 5 in the morning, and it's pitch black. And I promise you, these skinny little guys, from 12 years old to 25, they have to get in the pool and train before school.
How cold does it get for you guys there, like in the winter?
In the winter, it's like California, I think. Well, how cold does it get in California? Just because I want to ask you that question. How cold does it get? The coldest?
It's gotten down to 32 Fahrenheit, which is about 0 degrees Celsius.
Oh my God! No, we don't get that. We get maximum 8-9 degrees centigrade. So Celsius. Yeah. So that's cold.
Yeah.
With a chill factor. Like, for instance, I was in Switzerland before I went to the Australia, and it was 1 degrees and -1, right, when I went for the meeting. And from there, I went to the World Champs in Australia. And it was colder in the stands in Australia. I don't know what the hell's going on with the weather worldwide, but there's something going on with this
We're getting
global
crazy
warming.
rainstorms right now.
That's what I'm saying. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's normally 35, 40 degrees here in summer in Durban. The last 3 days, I wore a jacket. It's mind-boggling. And even in Melbourne, the locals said it's normally like 32 to 35 degrees. It was like 8, but with a chill factor of like 3, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It was very cold. But anyway, we've gone away from the subject of pools. But that you'll find with me, I talk and talk and talk, and I sometimes don't answer the question directly. I talk about something else. Unfortunately, I apologize in advance.
No,
But
no,
look,
that's totally okay.
it is challenging, brother. It is. Look, everybody's got problems, but as far as swimming is concerned, there is zero help in this country. Thank God. I'm going to say it. I said it once. Thank God Chad beat Michael Phelps. I'll tell you why. Because if he had beaten Joe Soap, he would have just been another swimmer that won a race. But because he beat Phelps, it elevated him into not stardom, but little stardom. Let's call it,
Yeah.
which helps in the bigger scheme of things.
So I'm curious, speaking of Michael Phelps, if you could give your take on the, we'll say, storied rivalry between the two that went down over several years.
You know what? I'm going to say this. Phelps was Chad's idol. You know, Phelps is the Muhammad Ali. When you talk swimming, there's only one person in swimming. It's Phelps. So it's a healthy. Everybody wants to beat the best. Everybody wants to beat Muhammad Ali or Tyson Fury at this point in time. Until such time he starts to get beaten and gets a bit older, whatever. He was the greatest and he will always remain the greatest. I don't think in our lifetime, or my lifetime definitely, that we'll see somebody else, emulate what he's done. Whether it was suits or whether it was timing or I don't know what it was, but what he's achieved, it's nothing short of amazing,
Yeah.
And like I said, we won't see it in our lifetime, But it wasn't really. There's a rivalry. Chad he wants to win every race. There's a rivalry when Chad. I remember years and years ago, he was 16 and Jordan was 10. There's 6 years difference, and I put a little hoop outside my house, a basketball hoop, and he said, "Oh, come on, me and you shoot a few hoops." They didn't know how to play anyway. Boom, 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 boom. Jordan came out like this. He said, "Oh, I'm the victor. I don't play anymore because I won." They put best of 20 or whatever, and he got 8 or 6 or 9 and 9, 8, whatever. He beat Chad. Chad, come and do one more time. Anyway, cut long story short, challenged him. Jordan said, "I'm the champion, leave me alone." Destroyed Chad. Chad went outside in the heat, and I kid you not, for 2.5 hours he went and he played. That's all you heard. It was against the garage, top of the garage. And all you heard on the cement, the ball going, and when he came out after 2.5 hours in the heat, sweating, dehydrated, he says, "Dad, I think when I'm finished swimming, I'm going to go and play in the NBA." That's his mentality. So it wasn't about Phelps. Phelps was his idol. It wasn't about Phelps. It was about whoever he races. Whether it's Dressel, Phelps, Lochte, all of them, he feels the same about everybody when he gets in the block. Whoever's favourite to win, Even now, 30 years old, he's a competitive as hell.
I've definitely enjoyed seeing, even when he wins the race, like I think back to like the 2017 World Championships, he won the 200 butterfly and still held up the arm and the hand of Laszlo Tse, the guy who was from Hungary.
Yes.
I can always appreciate somebody if I'm personally when I'm competing against somebody, I can always appreciate somebody who's respectful and if anything, friends with the people that he's swimming against.
So I say it quite often, and I know people that are watching will say I'm biased or whatever, and I know all of these guys because I've been on the circuit for the last 12, 13
Yeah.
years, and I'm always there, and I greet everybody, and I go to the after parties. I really love being around them. I love being around swimming. I love being around everything with my kids and with my grandkids. It's not about Chad. I go with the jiu-jitsu with Jordan.
Yeah.
I went to America 6 months ago before the Commonwealth Games to spend 2 weeks with him training in America. Jiu-jitsu. So it's about when my grandkids or my granddaughter does ballet. I am that father. I want to be there. So when they look up, one day they're going to say one thing: my grandfather was always there. And it's for me. When I look at all the galas that I've ever had, this is for parents if they're listening to this. Whenever you see a child, especially when they're very small, very young, you'll see the ones that are winning. You have a look up. I give you my word of honor. The first 3 people past the post, you will see their parents in the audience for whatever reason. Now, my granddaughter had 2 left feet, and she was a plonker. I went to watch her every single day, every time at ballet. And she possibly was like the second worst of the class. It made no difference. It makes no difference. And I'm telling you this for parents' sake, to be there. Now, you're a young man. Do you have children?
No, I'm only 21.
You're only 21.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, brother. No, sorry.
No, you're okay.
No, sorry, my brother. Are you blushing? I should be blushing. No, look. So, okay. But when I was 21, I already had a kid. I already had my daughter when I was 21. But anyway, so, yeah, your parents should be there. And like I say, most likely when you see kids that are in any team, soccer, football, rugby, American football, when you see the champion kids, even if my kid is on the bench, I'm in reserve, I will still be there. You understand?
Yeah.
But parents don't do that. Parents don't do that. Parents only go when their children are winning. It doesn't work like that. One day the press asked me, they said to me, it was a live show actually. It was a live show. It was a soccer player, a professional soccer player was on the same live show 2013 in London. And he went like this, and he said to Chad, I see when you're winning, your father's always there. Please don't answer, Bernard. And he answered. He was like being cheeky, funny with me. Anyway, no problem. I said, can I answer now after he's on? He answered very nicely, Chad. And I said, you know what? And I want to tell you, because I can see the way you've asked that question. My son doesn't need me when he's winning. He only needs me when he's losing. He doesn't need you because the press are there, the girls are there, the teammates, you name it, the other coaches, the sponsors. When he's losing, nobody wants him. No sponsors, nobody. I mean, with respect,
Yeah.
You know what I mean, So it's very important that parents are there. That was my point that I was trying to make.
So I'm curious. I've seen you for years at like almost every single one of his meets, and you've talked about how you're always there for your kids and your grandkids. When the pandemic hit, and like billions of people's lives were just completely upended, what was the feeling like not being able to be there? You see, during the pandemic, he was here with me most of the time. Only when the ISL took place and they took he went. And then, of course, the Olympics started and we weren't allowed to go. I already booked my tickets and paid for it. All of us were going to Tokyo. And, of course, we weren't allowed to go. There was no spectators. Yeah. So it was bad. But to be fair, when you look around you and you look at people, my brother-in-law passed away, for instance, and look, for me, it's not a sympathy thing, but when you look around and you see, this kid passed away, or that guy passed away, or that woman passed away from this silly disease, then you think, well, you know what? Please, God, please let us all survive. And I don't care about results anymore. Results and swimming and sport doesn't really come first. Family comes first. And health comes first. And then sport and money and whatever. I think that's a really good mentality to have. A good way to think about it. Because I definitely, on a personal level, like I was very lucky that my family and my extended family, we got through it pretty okay. Like a couple people got sick, but we all got through it okay, and I think that's a good way to look at it.
Yes.
That
Yeah,
family
look,
comes first.
of course, goes without saying.
Yeah,
I asked Chad, after the Rio Olympics, he was so upset with his results. And, my wife got cancer for the second time and all that nonsense. And it was just a very bad time for Chad. But he got 2 seconds. 2 seconds. And 2 silvers. And anyway, he was devastated. He was devastated. And I pulled him aside after the first loss. I said to him, Chad, are you kidding me? Your mom has just got cancer for the second time. I had cancer. We are all okay. And you flip and worry. And there's 8.5 billion people in the world. There's 3 medalists in the 200 fly or the 100 fly, whatever, 200 free. There's 3 medalists. Sun Yang, who cheats. And Chad. And the third, I don't even know who the third one is. But what I'm saying is that, you know what? Even if you got 4th, 5th, there were only 8 finalists in the 200 free, 8 finalists in the 100 fly or whatever. When they did heated all of them, and, it was like, and now he realizes, because after the total time he had during the course of the 2021, he had something very bad happened to him, which, like I say, it's not for public knowledge. And you know what? He went through a patch where he wanted to, he could lift his hands out of the water. For 3 years, he's never won an international race. And you can explain to me, after having an operation, break up with his girlfriend, thank God, and having another problem that he had, he became number 1 in the world and did a PB at age 30.
I was sitting in my room at like 2 a.m. when that happened, and I was very excited.
You understand? I mean, I've got cold shivers as we speak now. I promise you, I've got cold shivers. I never pray. I'm not like a religious man. You think I'm like religious or whatever. I'm not like religious, but I believe there's a big boss upstairs. And I believe that that's how you should try to behave your life accordingly a little bit. Not too happy-clappy or religious in any formal way. But I believe and I pray every day. I pray for my family every day, sometimes twice a day. And at the end of the day, I've never prayed for a gold medal. I've prayed for my wife to get better. I've prayed for my son's health to be better or whatever. Never for a gold medal, because I don't think that you should be praying for a gold medal, because you were also in the race. Phelps is in the race. What about his mother? What about his God or your God? If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You can't ask for that. You know what I'm getting at. And I must be honest with you. He was so under pressure the last 3 years in his life, in his personal life, that before the race, I asked the big boss, just let him win 1 race. I don't care if it's the 50. If a 50 fly, he doesn't make another place for the rest of the competition, I don't care. And you know what? When he won, I got home at 3:30. I was, you Muslim? Are you a Muslim?
Yeah.
So, haram I was. Haram. Haram. I've got a lot of Muslim friends. I was drinking till whatever time in the morning, and I get home, and I put my phone on, and I see hundreds of messages, because it was 10:30 in South Africa in the morning when he won. And it was, of course, that video of us screaming and shouting and me jumping like a lunatic. It went, 2 million views in 1,400 watch bullets.
Yeah.
In the space of 28 hours, 29 hours. Everybody else, even Emma McKeown or everybody else on that competition was 10% of that video. And you can go and check it out if you like. From all the FINA world.
I'm one of the people who reshared that video.
Oh, is it? Yes. But you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I turned around. One of the ladies from the world of aquatics came to see me, and I said to her, by the way, I said, you see the most popular swimmer in the world. She said to me, it's not only you, it's not only your son, It's you also. The two of you together. But anyway, I'm just telling you, I prayed for the gold and it came. I didn't care about the 100 fly. I promise you I didn't care because I asked for one gold medal. Inshallah, thank God. He gave it to me. You understand? He gave it to my son. And my son he's sick again now. He can't start training. He's supposed to have started training. He's sick again. He's got an infection in his leg. I don't know what happened. So he's not training now. He's supposed to train. It goes on and on and on. But the most important is in a good space.
That's good.
That's the most important.
It's definitely when I've competed in swimming, it's been a lot easier to swim happy than it is to swim stressed out or having anxiety or.
Yes. And if you look at the way he was swimming the last 3 years, go and have a look. He's a 200 fly swimmer. In the Commonwealth Games, look at the 100 fly. Listen to me carefully. He could have towed a rope in that race and won it in the Commonwealth Games. Yet that Canadian boy beat him. I forget his name.
Leandro.
Yes.
Yeah.
Listen to me, and I'm not just saying this. Good luck to the boy. In the heats, in the semi-final, he was crazy. Like this, acting like he always does. He couldn't lose the final. After 35 meters, he couldn't get his hands in the water. It was like overreaching. If you have a look at it, there was no smoothness. He was fighting the water, pressure, the head. Anyway, now he's sort of cleared his head, and the new coach has been terrific. It's been, for me, it's been absolutely a revelation. Revelation. His way of thinking, his input, his guidance, and his warrior mentality. I just cannot wait for 2024. You heard it here for the first. 2024 Olympics, whether Chad wins or not at 32, that is not up to me or you or anybody. I'm going to tell you now, at 32 years old, he will do a PB or two.
That'd be pretty awesome.
100% as a 32-year-old. And we're not talking about drugs, and we're talking about clearing the head. And I've said it for years. I can teach you this, or this, or this, or boxing. I can't teach you this. If your head, like you just said, if you're swimming unhappy for whatever reason, your mom, your dad, your brothers, or your girlfriend, whatever's troubling you, you cannot swim. Or you cannot play football or rugby or tennis. You can't.
I mean, I think speaking of a similar situation to that, somebody who came into the Olympics at an older age than what typical swimming Olympians would be at was Anthony Irvin back in the 2016 Olympics.
Yes.
Came in swimming happy, won a gold medal 16 years later.
Unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable. Oh my God. I you don't understand. I mean, if I think about that and I put that, because it's nice to dream. You know that.
Yeah.
To dream it's everything to dream. So obviously when you now mention Anthony Irvin to me, I look at now, that's Chad Le Clos 2024. You understand?
Yeah.
And, it would be a dream like you cannot believe. But I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to say it again. Remember what I'm saying. You heard it here first. He will do a PB come 20. Whether that is 4th place, 5th place, 8th place, it'll be a PB. Maybe all these guys go 149. He's not going 149 or 32. You understand the 200 fly? Yeah. But, or 47 or 48, 100 fly. But he will do a PB. He'll do a PB.
I'm ready for it.
Yeah, it'll be good.
So, I want to go back a couple of years here. Just a few years, all the way back to 2012. Just a couple of years. I'm going to combine two of the questions that I had here. I'm curious if going into those Olympics, if you had any expectations that obviously you wouldn't put them on him, but just if you had any expectations that you were thinking about, and obviously after he won a gold medal and a silver medal, if like how you felt after, or what your reaction was after that happened.
Jeez. Let's start before the race. Before the race, Chad had swum against Phelps and all the big boys 3 years before at World Champs in Rome. And he finished 16th. He's a little boy, skinny like hell. He's still skinny compared to the other guys. He doesn't do much much weights. No, he doesn't do much weights. Anyway, we knew that he went 154 in Mare Nostrum, I think it was. I'm not sure exactly. And the coach said, well, this is after 10 kilometers a day. Tough. I don't know exactly. The figures fluctuate. I'm not sure about the figures, but it was in training. So no, what should it rest and taper and all that nonsense. So we knew that he was going to go faster than 153. Now, if Phelps, like I'll tell you again, if Phelps is going to go 150 or Milak is going to go 149 and Chad goes 151 or 152 or whatever it may be, a PB, if he beats him, he beats him, you know. But if it's a dogfight, I'll back the cockroach from South Africa. I'll back the cockroach from South Africa. You know, that's where I think comes a little bit of the not being too spoiled. That everything goes your way. The lane's all in, the wire's all in, there's markings. One nationals here, you couldn't see the finish. You could not see the finish because they put too much chlorine or not chlorine. You couldn't see the end. It was like dangerous. They still swam. And they interviewed Chad. Chad was 17 or 18. They said, oh, what do you Chad, what do you think? And he said, well, are we all swimming in the same pool? And I don't care. He says, same as when he went to India for his Commonwealth Games when he was a young boy, before 12. And they interviewed him. They interviewed him. And they said, oh, well, you're like the junior champion and most medals in junior Commonwealth. And now you're seniors, blah, 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 blah. And by the way, he's the most Commonwealth senior medal tally, a male. And they asked him, what about these beds? There was some sand and whatever. The other countries like England and whatever, they would say to Australia, oh, no, he says, do we all have to sleep in the same kind of beds? Then I don't care. But if you're getting special treatment and I must eat on the street and you eat in a 5-star hotel, then it's no good. You understand what I'm saying? But if everybody's got the same pool, then so be it. And then, of course, now the second part of your question is how did I feel? Well, do you know of Rake Nickling? Do you know of Rake Nickling or not? He was the gold medalist that stopped America in the Fab Four from South Africa.
Yeah.
In the 2004 Olympics. Anyway, he was doing the Super Sport interview. Now, I don't know about interviews. I don't know about gold medal. I don't know about people watching me because who's going to watch a fat man like me? Nobody. Anyway, I'm in the stands, and of course, and I have to tell you from the beginning, on the left-hand side of me was a Canadian couple. And you can't write this movie. Canadian couple. Myself, my wife, and an American couple. Now I'm telling you, you can't write this. So now, of course, I talk to everybody, and my neck is stiff, so I turn like this, and I turn to talk to this Canadian lady. Oh, hello, my darling. Hello, sir. Who you? Oh, no, we're just watching whatever. I said, no, I'm watching. My son is about to swim, you know. He's got a small chance to just about win whatever. She says, from where? She was so nice. She said, you know what? I'm going to put my Canadian flag away. I kid you not. I put my Canadian flag away, and I'm going to be South Africa just for this race for you. I said, oh, that's very nice. Anyway, unbeknown to me, my wife is talking to the people next to the couple next to them. The stands now. So my wife is more polite and more, not like me, you know. She says, oh, no, my little boy. Oh, no, but Phelps is going to win this. That's what the American ladies. I didn't hear it because there's a lot of noise and I'm facing this way. But anyway, afterwards, I would like to be a fly on the wall and see. I would love to know, because when Chad won, I didn't look at my wife. I was facing this way because we were sitting in those type of seats. And we saw him win. And I was facing this woman. I grabbed her and kissed her. On the cheek or whatever, on the head, whatever. The husband had beers underneath his thing, Heineken, because the Heineken were plastic bottles for London Olympics.
Yeah.
You could take them on the stands. And he took this bottle out. And I don't know if he was giving it to me to take his wife, or giving it to me to release his wife. I don't know. But anyway, that's all I remember. I mean, I'd love to have a barbecue with her and him and hear their side of the story, what this mad bastard did. And then, of course, we're jumping, we're going berserk, we're crying. I can't even remember. I mean, sobbing. And now we go, and now we got the flag and we're going berserk. And Rake calls me and he says to me, Bert, I knew him from swimming. And he says, can I have a little interview with you? He said, Bert, I'm going to tell you, your life will be completely changed. I didn't realize. I said, oh, well, I mean, why? You know, I didn't understand, you know. Chad had won world championships. He had won a lot of medals in the Commonwealth. I didn't realize how big this would become. For me, I'm saying, even for an insignificant person like me. And, of course, you get a nice interview. And of course, the other interview came up when I was crying in the medal ceremony. And I took the flag, like this, and I went, and I wiped my tears. And one of the ministers from South Africa, one of the politicians, said to me, you can't do that, and you must hold the flag on the right way. I said, what? Because the flag, the red must go underneath or the bottom. I'm not sure exactly. There's a way of holding the South African flag. So, of course, you know, you're asking me how my life changed. All I can say is it's unbelievable, my life. Wherever I go, people sort of know me. I love it. I'm going to be honest with you. I love it. It's worth more than money for me. The fame and the accolades and my son is worth more than money. Some people, they swim and they want to make money. My son wants at the end of every gala, my son will be the last person to leave. And that I'm going to tell you, 100%. I know all these athletes. While the camera's on them, yes, son, the poor kids or whatever, off they go. It's finished now. It's enough. All of them. 99% of them. My son will never leave you if he's not racing. If he's any gala he has, the last day he comes up and any kids that need signing or this, he stays till lights go off.
You're talking about that the other day. I saw on his Instagram, he posted a lot of pictures of him meeting people.
Yes. I can assure you, brother, and I'm not telling you this, I can assure you, like they bring kids, like the poor kids from the township. Now, you might not understand that, but they bring kids from the township for the galas, and they're just trying to uplift them. They bring buses and all that. At the end of it, he stays there till the flipping lights go off. I've seen it not once, tens of times, hundreds of times. And you know what? I wouldn't have it any different. That's the way I want him to be. What is that? What is that arrogant? What is that arrogant? Why? Because you're a gold medalist, or you're a millionaire, or you're head of Apple, or you Elon Musk. There's no difference to you, me, the girl that sweeps the floor in the Wimpy bar or the restaurant. She's just trying to make a living, feeding her children. Same as you, same as me, same as the swimmer. And God gave you a gift to become gold medalist. That's the difference between me and you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what I taught him. You know, I taught him that humility. He's only a little bit want to fight with the guys like champions. He will never belittle a smaller guy than him. Like anybody he beats, he's very humble. He's a little bit wild when he wants to win. You understand? He wants to win. But he's invariably he's a nice boy.
I think it speaks to the integrity of somebody that they can acquire a certain level of fame and still it doesn't change them. Or if anything, it gives them more of an avenue to be kind to other people and to do good things for other people. Absolutely.
This is how it should be. This is exactly the way it should be. Not like I saw one the other day. I forget who the athlete was. One of it was Justin Bieber. They were standing outside I saw a clip of something. He was standing outside his house. And he said, listen, guys, there's all these bodyguards. And the one young girl, there wasn't many. One young girl said, "Well, please, can you just sign something or hug or something?" He said, "Not outside my home." I do understand when it concerns Justin Bieber because he's got hundreds and hundreds of millions of girls and people screaming and giving him zero privacy.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. But every case is an isolated case. You understand? If there's just 3-4 girls there or 3-4 kids there, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Just ching. That's you make somebody's life, man. You know, that poor kid could be under so much pressure because of bullying or because of maybe parents are divorced. I don't know. You understand what I'm saying? Life is not so easy. You know, it's not, you know, some people have got shit lives, if you excuse my French, you know. And if you could change it, if you could change somebody's life and it doesn't cost you much, it's half a second, one hype, off you go, or whatever. One shake hands. We just acknowledgement, you know. And he went, he said, "Not here, no." And the bodyguard pushed him away and he went inside.
I think there's a trend that I've noticed at least in swimming that I've noticed of as one person comes up from a country that maybe typically isn't as known for its swimming and starts to do great things, you start to notice maybe like 5, 6, 7 years later, other people coming up from that same country. Or from other countries.
Yes. Like Popovici now.
Yeah.
Popovici, you're going to see it. I saw the other day, they got a relay team now all of a sudden. Never seen that. I've been swimming 20 years. Yeah, with Chad. I never seen Romania. I mean, it's Romania.
Yeah.
It's from Romania. Yeah. I never seen Romania have a swimming team. I never knew, not one swimmer that I can recall. Now, all of a sudden, there's flipping relays.
I think the most recent, like, at least Olympic medalist that they've had was like all the way back in like 2004, so almost 20 years ago.
Yes. Well, that's what I'm saying. I've been swimming now for 20 years, but I wasn't international swimming for 20 years. So I wouldn't even watch swimming 20 years ago. I mean, I would start watching 20 years ago. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I think back to like that picture of Joseph Schooling meeting Michael Phelps when he was like 8 years old.
Yes.
And then 8 years later, being on the podium, standing next to Michael Phelps. It's like just
beating him.
Yeah. Just the act of spending a little bit of time meeting somebody you never know, like what positive path that could send them down.
That's exactly what I just said. Without knowing where you were going with that. That's exactly what I just said. So you, by that little shake hand for half a second that Justin Bieber could have done, that poor girl, I'm not saying that's the case, but it could be that her mom has cancer or her father just passed away or they have, I don't know whatever problems people have. And people have problems. And that little girl, by being pushed away by her idol, could be so detrimental to her. Do you understand? If that's the case. And I understand, as in Justin Bieber, is that he's got 10 million people in his house. But in this particular case, there wasn't. Every case is you can't just say, oh, well, if I'd signed that, but you weren't 10 million there. If you just signed that or just to shake hands, then go inside your house. But anyway, I just thought I'd mention.
I mean, I can think of like that same mentality applies for me personally in that when I first started doing these interviews, the first guy that I interviewed, first guy I interviewed was Tom Shields, actually. Oh. And he was nice enough to take a chance on some random guy who was asking for an interview.
Yes.
I think about nice guy. Yeah, he is a very nice guy.
He's a nice guy. No, he's one of our, he's if ever you get a chance to interview Chad, you will get in the future. You ask him, he can talk exactly like Tom Shields. Hey man, what we're doing, man. He's very nice. I know his wife, I'm we're good friends. Very good friends.
They actually live like an hour and a half in about that direction.
Okay.
So I've met him in person a few times.
Yeah, Chad and him are very good friends. When Chad spent 3 weeks in California in 2016, I think. Yeah, 2016. He spent 2 weeks in California. We went to Vegas. We all went to Vegas after Korea, I think it was. No, it wasn't. Well, whenever. I can't remember now. But he spent 2 weeks with Tom in California. Some friends.
Every time I do an interview, I'm grateful that he was the first person that was like, yeah, I'll do an interview with you. And then it led me to now I've done almost a dozen of these. I just like talking about swimming. I like meeting new people. And when you were talking about that, just shaking somebody's hand, just that small act of kindness.
Yes, I tell you, and I'm going to tell you, guys like Tom are good for any sport. I'm going to tell you, because he's a good guy. He really is a good guy. He's a little bit too honest, to be fair. Yes, no, he's a bit too honest, but he's a good guy. He really is a good guy. Another one is a good guy is Les Lachey.
He's on the bucket list of people that like I would love to sit down and have a conversation with that guy.
You must. If you message him, message him, tell him Bert Le Clos said that he recommended that. Listen to me, Bert Le Clos. I did Bert Le Clos the other day, and he recommended that you come on my podcast. Just see what he says. Because I've been to his house. He's been to my little house, and we've had dinner. I took him to a rugby game here at Chad's school, the ex-school that he was at. So he's had dinner with me. He had drinks with me. You know.
He's one of those guys that I was always rooting for. Whenever he was in a race, I was one of the people I'd always be rooting for.
Yes, he's a nice guy. So Chad in Hungary is very popular. Very popular. He's one of the most popular swimmers in Hungary. I think because of his affiliation with Laszlo and what he did for him in 2017, and it's
I think that definitely helped when he. Yes. When he was holding up the arm of the guy from the home country.
I told the guy from Switzerland that Chad beat in the Tour de Fla. I forget his name now.
Ponty.
We're having a few drinks since we put it.
Ponty, yeah.
Ponty, yeah. So I said to him, my boy, just like this. He speaks a bit of French, and I'm speaking a little bit of French, and we're speaking and we're talking, not necessarily French, but we said, this and that. And I said to him, my boy, I want to explain something to you. How old are you? He said, "Be 21. 22. He's 22. And I said to my boy, I want to explain something to you. Just now, you got the next 8 to 10 years to get to another level. I said, I'm going to tell you in life, when you want to lose, no, you can't choose to who you lose to. But you must try to choose. You must try. When you lose, let me start again. When you lose to somebody that you like, the blow is a lot softer."
Yeah.
He says, no, that makes sense. I said, if you could go in your life and say, I'm going to lose the Tour de Fla in Melbourne, who do I want to lose to? Oh, I definitely don't want to lose to him. I wouldn't mind losing to Chad because he went out to dinner. He went out to dinner and drinks with Chad afterwards. So, you understand? Yeah. They like each other, they're good friends. But what I'm saying is that sometimes you can't stand a bloke, and to lose to him, it's a lot more than if you like a guy. Like Les Lachey when he beat Chad, it is what it is. In 2015, I think.
Yeah. And
he beat him. You know what? I've got a picture on my wall here. It was near my bar. It's all the medals, in frames, and I've got a picture of the silver medal in a frame. My fist like this under his chin, Laszlo's chin outside my hotel in Kazan in Russia. And that's the way I roll. And you know what? I tell everybody, I can't hate. In South Africa, if you beat the people or your son starts to get too good, people hate you. They hate you. They're jealous. Unbelievable. I told him, I said, you know what? Do I want you to beat my son? Absolutely not. If you beat my son, I'm the least unhappy that he lost. You understand that? I'm going to be unhappy, obviously. Same as you're unhappy that Chad beat you. But because you're good friends, And because you're good friends, then it just softens the blow slightly. You know? Yeah.
I just in my past college season, I had exactly that situation happen to me. I was
Yes,
racing a good friend of mine in the mile, so a very long race.
yes, yes,
And the
yes, yes.
last like 200 of the race ran me down and beat me by 6/100ths of a second.
Oy, 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 oy.
If it was anybody else, I would
Would
have
have
been
gone, lost your shit.
furious.
Yeah,
But
I
I
understand.
we hugged after the race. We'd both like done
Yes,
very well. Like
yes,
so, I totally understand that. If it was anybody else, I would
yeah.
have been furious. But if it was
Anybody else? Yeah, yeah. And then you go after it for drinks or for
yeah
cool drinks or for dinner, and and near future, in 10, 20 years time, you'll see my brother come here. If you like Cavic and Phelps, I can hate each other. Oh, sorry, they hate each other. You
yeah
understand? So so Cavic can't get over that. Well, unfortunately, my friend, you're gonna. You know what? I taught my son. What do you learn from winning? This is what you learn from winning. Absolutely bugger all. Because when you win the race, when you come out, you win the race. Your coach, you win the race. I don't care how you win. I don't care the time either. Well done, my boy. Your dad comes. Well done. Your friends, your girlfriends, your boyfriends, your this, your that. You understand? When you lose, you sit back and say, geez, I missed that turn, or I went too early, or I didn't go fast enough, I went too late, or whatever. It's analyzing every single thing. So you only improve when you lose. You never improve when you win. Never, 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 never. Because everybody said, well, you won. What more you want? You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So this one's more of just the curiosity behind this question. So you've been going to your son's meets, to Chad's meets, for over a decade now. I'm curious what your favorite memory has been. Whether it be medal related or not, whether it be
You
race
see,
related or not, like what your favorite
you
memory
see,
has been.
obviously you can't ask me that because of London. Because of London.
Fair
London,
enough.
take London away. There's no
Yeah.
London, right? No London. I'm going to tell you. The best time I had was at the Commonwealth Games in 2018. Funny enough, was on the Gold Coast in Australia. I was with some American friends of mine who came through and some other friends from South Africa. We had the time of our lives. Chad won 5 medals. We had the time, it was the best time I've ever had. Then, but swimming wise, his first gold medal was as important when he beat Laszlo, 200 fly, Dylan Merlo. There was the world record holder, the Olympic second of this, world champion, all in the same race. And there was my little boy still at school. And he beat them, the 200 fly, short course in Dubai. I sat like this. I had a blue shirt on. I was 140 kilos. I was much heavier. And I sat like this and I started crying. I cried and cried and cried and cried. That my whole shirt here was dark blue. It was like a light blue shirt. It was light. But that was a great moment. But on the 200 butterfly 3 weeks ago was one of the highlights, if not the highlight, purely because I knew what Chad had been through the last 3.5, 4 years. So, you, as a father, right? As a father, as a coach, as a friend, as a mentor, whatever, you're only as happy as your most unhappy friend or your most unhappy child. If all your children are happy, I don't need much. I need me and you. Do you drink? You don't drink alcohol? Do you drink alcohol?
No, I don't.
You don't. All right, me and you. I'll have a bottle of wine. You can have a bottle of Coke or cool drink or whatever. And we need me and you a fire, 2 pieces of chicken, 2 glasses, some thongs, and we talk nonsense. We talk about swimming and bullshit and nonsense. And that will make me happy to be with you. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like my friend, or my friend or my brother or whatever. And that's the reality. That's as you get on in life. I know you're 21. That's not what's going to make you happy. That's not what's going to make you happy. But towards the end of your life, later on in life, these other things don't make no difference. Happiness is everything. And you know what? My son was so unhappy for 3.5 years. So unhappy. You don't understand. Very unhappy. And go back and look at how he was swimming. He was still doing the same mileage, still eating the same foods, still not going out and buggering himself up. It was all here. And now, thank God, he's finally 3/4 better. And like I said, 2024, remember what I'm saying? You heard it first on this podcast. He will do a PP.
I'm ready.
Or 2.
I'm ready to see it.
22 years old. Yeah.
I think it speaks to the, I guess, level of authenticity that he had after that race, the 200 butterfly, that I was sitting on a call with 3 of my buddies, and they were excited, and they know nothing about swimming.
Oh, really?
I was the only one there who knew anything about swimming,
Yes.
and they were still excited all the same. So I definitely enjoyed watching that race a lot.
In my family, we only know football and rugby, soccer, rugby, and that's it. Everybody now got a huge family. I'm Catholic, huge family, and we all watch swimming now. Everybody watches swimming. It's our now first sport in the family. It's also it's like your friends now. If your friends and you were swimming, or you had did something, or you were coaching, they would start watching swimming. You understand? It's about.
I've had friends who've shown up to swim meets to see me, even though they had no prior connection to the sport.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah.
So we're winding down on the questions that I've got for you. The last main topic I want to ask you about is a bit more of a serious topic, and only talk about whatever you're comfortable sharing. But for me, both of my parents have survived having cancer. My dad had it when I was a lot younger, and my mom had it a couple of years ago when I was in high school. So
They survived?
yeah, they're cleared now. They're doing much better now.
Inshallah, inshallah. Thank you. Yes.
So I'm curious if you could speak about not just how it affected, or at least how you think it affected Chad's competitions, how it affected you and your wife and your family. So what? Again, only what you're comfortable sharing.
Yeah, sure. No, this is something that I like to talk about because, like I said earlier, with Justin Bieber, about him, if that had been my little son and his mother has got cancer, and his father got cancer, and this and that, and he went to shake or wanted to shake Justin Bieber, he'd been there all day. It could ruin could go over the thing and finish on heroin or kill himself or it's as bluntly as that. That's the way I look at life. Just to be kind to somebody smaller than you for a minute or two doesn't harm you. You understand? So going back to your question about the cancer, well, I want to tell you, it took its toll in 2010 to the point where the chemo absolutely buggered my wife's brain up, and she got put on a lot of weight and mental, and then of course she went mental. She went literally mental, and she didn't even know she was doing it, and it had a huge effect on my family, huge, because Jesus, I don't even know how my son won, and then of course it all came back in 2016, and I'm going to tell you. Thank God for Rio Olympics. If it wasn't for Rio Olympics, my wife would be dead today. I'll tell you the reason why. We were sitting there, it was a Sunday night or whatever day, and she said, remember, she had already had breast cancer. And when she found, she said, there's a lump here, but this is not cancer. I said, Jay, we've spent a fortune. We're going to Rio. We booked all our accommodation, we booked all our tickets, and all our this, and all our that. The whole family's going. So I said, Jay, just tomorrow morning, when you wake up, make an appointment with the doctor. Anyway, she got an appointment for Tuesday. Tuesday, doctor. Wednesday, oncologist. Thursday, surgeon. Rapid. It started on Wednesday. Let's say, I don't know if size, let's say it was 3 inches. By the time they cut it out, now he wanted to cut the next day, the surgeon. I said, my friend, please, you don't know me. I said, please. He says, I can't do it on Monday. I said, my boy is Olympic champion. It's Olympic year. He's in Mauritius training camp. If he comes home tonight, it's tomorrow night. It's Thursday. Please. He said, I can't do it. I got up from the chair, and I swear to God, I got up from the chair. I walked out of his office. He didn't know what I was going to do. I went to the secretary. I said, by the way, Dr. Stratton has said he's very busy on Monday, but can he have a double mastectomy and do a double mastectomy on my wife on Monday? She went, the secretary, old lady said, she put on the computer. Oh, he's busy. Okay, well, we'll schedule it for 11 o'clock. There's a little gap. Truth God, I got back inside. I made a joke with the guy. And I said, no, I don't have to kill your family. You're doing it on Monday. And he looked at me. He couldn't believe, because the mess, I was much bigger than I am now. Much bigger. So anyway, it was a joke. And we're still friends now, that doctor. And of course, and then Chad came home that day. And we gave him the news. Devastating again. It happened in 2010. Young 18-year-old, 17-year-old boy. Well, that happened. Now, it's Olympic year. He's leaving. He's just coming back. He's leaving on Monday or Tuesday to bugger off overseas. He did delay it, cancel his trip for Monday. They cut him on Monday. And of course, you saw when he left the fly there at the end of that documentary, where my wife was in the room, And so it is what it is. And that's when I told him, I said to him, Chad, you have to put things in perspective, because if one thing you must remember, you are going to lose. Life is only about losing. You win absolutely nothing. You lose your parents, you lose your money, you lose your job, you lose your hair, you lose your looks, you lose your body. There's nothing that you win. So when you win, celebrate your victories, however small, in a nice way, not in an extravagant mental. Just celebrate your victories, because they're so far between. So if you think that your life is evolved around this gold medal in 2024 or 2016 or 2012 or 2021, it's not like that, Chad. Because I'm going to ask you now, let's kill me and kill your brother, or kill your brother, kill your mother, kill me. Give you 100 gold medals. Do you want it? Of course not, Dad. I said, so that's the way you want to. That doesn't mean to say you mustn't swim to win, or you mustn't sacrifice. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you cannot invest in only that gold medal. It's just like I said, let me just do a PB. If I do a PB and they beat me, now his brain is starting to mature as an adult athlete. So it's not that little boy that all he's bent on is with beating you. He doesn't care he'll do anything to beat you. You understand? Now it's because if you put everything into that box of winning, and if you lose, what are we going to do? Go and take heroin? What are we going to do? Kill ourselves? No. That's my point. And that's the lesson that I had to teach Chad. And it was taught through the cancers. It wasn't taught by anything else, because when you, as you know, your parents have had cancer, people that have had tragedies, that's a tragedy, this bloody thing. Even if you survive it still affects you badly, in your life. So, if you look at life, and then and when things go a little bit wrong, you can just look and say, somebody's worse. Use the bad things to create something good. Mom survived. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Big Boss. Finish and cry. Don't cry about your stupid second that you got, or third, or you didn't make a final. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. Not to take it so personally. That's what my point that I was trying to say. Not to take it so personally. Because life is not a bed of roses.
I mean, I remember when my mom got the call I was at my very first like travel meet. It was like 3 hours away from home, but it was still, for me, it was like a big deal. And we got back to the hotel we were staying at after prelims, and like as we're pulling in, that's when my mom got the call. All of a sudden, the meet didn't matter anymore. There's just it just was not my focus at all that weekend.
Absolutely. Yeah. But, that doesn't mean to say that because something happened to your uncle or your parents or your whatever, that you now have got to say, well, I can't swim anymore. Or I can't. You can also use it as a positivity to say, I'll tell you what, you see quite often people that have lost their parents or footballers that they score a try or they score a goal, they take their shirt off, they picture of their brother or their mother or their child. When Ronaldo scored a goal, he dedicated to his little unborn son or just born, stillborn son that was born, And you can also use those good times as a positivity towards whoever has had a bad run, whether it be your mom or me or my wife or whatever, say I dedicate this to my mom, or to whatever, whatever you do successfully.
Well, it was
an initiative for medal,
it was a year later I was able to come back to that same pool, same meet, and at that time my mom was in remission. She was doing a lot better.
Yes.
And I was able to I made like 3 finals. I did and it just,
yes.
In my head it was like I was swimming for my mom a year earlier.
Yes, understand. That's the right way to do it.
Yeah.
Because but again, you have to be. That's why I have the saying: do not be in love with your kids, love them. In other words, there's times because I love you so much, you're my son, and you did wrong. Oh no, we'll cover it up. No, if you stole or Chad stole, your dad can't come and tell me, oh no, well, Mum, the money flew into his pocket. No, or flew into Chad's pocket. No, he stole the money. That doesn't mean to say I don't love you, but realize that you stole. You're a thief. You understand? Or you do drugs. It means you're a drug addict or whatever it may be. That's where parents, I think, make the mistake. They too much smoke. Too much blowing smoke. Towards their children. In other words, they clown everything. Cover up. I know it's my son. It's okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. Anyway, yeah.
Honestly, this was a lot of fun.
Also fun for me.
I really enjoyed having this conversation with you. It felt less like an interview and more just like a conversation, which I think makes it always more enjoyable.
You see,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. You see, for me, that's what I said to you. I promise you, I haven't seen any question. Because if I'm going to prepare an answer, I'm going to prepare an answer that you want to hear, or politically correct. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what? That's for politicians. I'm not a politician. I'm here to chat to you, and if anybody else listens to this podcast or whatever, it's if I can help somebody just as much that's in the same position as I'm in, or have been in, or that Chad has been in with cancer, and there's thousands of people with this dreaded disease, and some people are not as fortunate as Chad to have somebody who can what do you call it, who has helped him in that way. Not that I'm a greatest father on earth, but in some aspects I'm a great father. In some aspects of life, in some aspects of life, I promise you, I know I'm number one. In some aspects, I'm number 1 billion, no problem. But in some aspects of life, like I've done a lot of, like Chad knows, it's not about me. It's like I say, I love my children, but I'm not in love with any of them. I'm in love with one of my kids, the youngest one, the Rio, my granddaughter. I don't want to tell you. This thing has got me, and I'm in love with it. So she can do whatever she likes. She treats me like dirt. I buy her a present every day. And I'm telling you, I'm a flippant bad grandfather to her. I can't, you don't understand. I fight with her every day. All I want her to do is just to love me. Like, just leave me alone. And I chase her around. I take her to the pool. And no. Every day a present. Every day. And it's wrong. And that's what I'm trying to say. It's wrong, but it's the one. I'm a grandfather, not a father.
You're allowed to spoil her a little bit.
Yeah. Anyway.
So the last thing for you is just usually at the end of interviews, at the end of conversations that I have with people, I give them some time to promote something of their choice. I've had some people just promote being kind. I've had some people promote like their own sponsorships, but basically it's just your time to talk about whatever you want people to be thinking about.
You know, at the end of the day, it's, I've said whatever I want people to think about.
Yeah.
I want people to think like the Justin Bieber story. Just for 1 minute, just look at somebody and say, maybe that guy or that girl or that kid, especially that kid, maybe he's gone through a hard time. Maybe his mom's got cancer, or his dad passed away, or his dad lost a job. It happens every day. Every day. So just be more sympathetic to each other. There's no need for the hatred because you black or you Catholic and I'm Protestant and you Muslim and I'm Jew. All these type of things. You know what? Don't hate me for the way I look or my religious beliefs. Meet me. You don't have to like me. You don't have to like me. But meet me and say, because I'm a Mauritian or I'm a Catholic. Let's call it Catholic if you want to call it religion. I'm a Catholic. So maybe a Protestant doesn't like me because they were at war. But you can't just say you don't like all Catholics or all, whatever you want to call, whatever the story is. You can't just say, I don't like all Chinese or all Japanese or French or whatever it may be. Meet the guy and say, no, I don't like that French guy. I'm a Mauritian. I don't like Mauritian. You can't say I don't like the whole of Mauritian. Because there's good and bad in every race, in every religion, and every color, and every creed. So all just I'm saying is be more tolerant to everybody, including myself. I must also be more tolerant. It's easier, sometimes easier said than done. The road rages, the way people behave when I've had a few drinks, especially. And in sport, the way people behave, it's sometimes disgusting, but that's all. That's my message is try to think about the next person, because the next person could be having the worst time ever. And your little bit of tolerance and kindness, 1 minute kindness could change a guy's life. You can think, geez, there, well, it's not so bad now. Boom.
I think that's a pretty awesome message to be putting out.